Hey Pinky Crew, and welcome to a wild adventure of a wilderness only account. The aim of this account is to do anything and everything in the wilderness. Once I cross the wilderness line, I cannot go back. The only unfortunate thing is there's many skills you cannot do whilst out in the wilderness, as they're not set up or you can't start them out in the wilderness. We start off with a brand new account. The only thing I'll be taking with me is literally 2 XP lamps. The other items that we spawn with are dropped on the floor. The reasoning behind the lamps is due to mining. Out in the wilderness, the lowest mineable item is literally iron ore at level 15. Now let's put these lamps on and see what I'm working with. Level 28. After I got to level 28, I didn't do anything to start with mining, as there was nothing I could smelt due to iron being the lowest thus far, so even though I can now mine out in the wildy, there's no point at this particular moment in time. After that was short-lived, the first thing I got started with was trees. Just over the wildy line, there's a group of trees with one oak tree in the middle, and it's an easy place to get woodcutting and fire making XP. The only bad thing is, oak is the highest tree out in the wilderness. It's going to take a while to get levels like I want, but it's worth giving it a real good go. So like all my other skilling sessions with any account, I start with woodcutting and fire making together. Oddly enough, fire making at these lower levels will overtake woodcutting in XP, without a doubt. Fire making XP is so easy to get with the lower trees compared to the XP you get with woodcutting. If you're doing normal trees in BlissScape as a whole, you'll also notice that the fire making actually becomes lower in XP than anything woodcutting wise. This won't be possible for me out in the wilderness, but it's nice to dream. You'll also see me doing the fire making at the edge of the wilderness line. This is because I thought that if the wildy sign in the top right did not show, there'd be a chance of getting another XP lamp in this particular spot. Unfortunately, it was confirmed that you cannot get a lamp here, but this was confirmed after I recorded the video. There was one place I could go ahead and get an XP lamp according to Tim himself, which is the Mage Bank. Either way, we'll get to that later on. You'll also see that there's people all around me, just walking about, not really saying anything. That is because they are actually PKing bots for those who have never played the server. In all honesty, these bots are not to be messed with. They will tear you apart with no issues unless you're good at PvP with a lot of higher gear on, like you would normally be for a real PvP event with a live player. I finished with level 55 woodcutting and 62 fire making after 8 minutes, before I decide to run into the wilderness and see what's in store for me. Before I continue, I want to let you know about today's sponsor, myself. I helped myself in advance by mapping out the entire wilderness on my main, so I was able to get a start of what I could do and where I could go to get bits and pieces. If you want to help me out at all though, show some love and appreciation. A simple like, sub or comment will suffice greatly. Let's show you the map of what I know of the wilderness. This is where it may get a little bit hectic, and this is also where I want to go a little bit of a speed, because otherwise we'll be here for a very long time, and I will miss stuff on purpose like I have on this map, but let's give you a rundown. As we enter the wildy, we're greeted with oak trees. This is the highest tier tree out here in the wilderness. We have 5 different entrances, but none of these are active. We have a chaos altar, which is accessible with a chaos talisman. We have several areas to mine, and this goes all the way to runite. These places give coal, iron, gold, adamantite, mithril and runite ores. We have a graveyard of shadows, which offer a ton of zombies along with the following bits of loot: iron dagger, steel dagger, plank, iron med helm, crossbow and a tile. Right next to this is the boneyard, where there are several skeletons. Next to these skeletons, there's black salamanders, which I thought would be fantastic if I lamped to get to the required level, but unfortunately they're not coded in, and I cannot get the hunting resources I need to actually get them. There's an altar here, and there's an altar here. Both of these work as normal. These areas consist of nothing, meaning they're safe places to get away if and when needed. Over to a set of ruins, we have an anvil. In the other set of ruins, we have a furnace. In this area, we have a lot of bones, some skulls, steel plate legs and a spade. Over here, we have a bandit camp. The right people are there, it's just unfortunate that this area isn't coded. There's only a single bandit on the outside of the chef's place who attacks you. They've got a fire there, but that's all that's worth going there for. But you can make fire anywhere with a log, so this place isn't worth going to. We have some fishing spots, but all of them are not coded, meaning fishing is not possible. We have the King Black Dragon and demons in this section, moss giants, ice warriors, red spiders, normal spiders, skeletons, PvP bots, zombies, corp, worm, and other monsters, and there's definitely more like green dragons and red dragons hanging around. We have the lava maze for whenever a muddy key is available to be traded in. There's a decayed altar for when you want to fight the wildy bosses and get yourself noxious items. There's a pirate's place that you can pick lock into but get no XP for. An agility training area but can't be used until later at level 42 or so. A mage arena filled with mages. And there's still more I haven't said, but for now I have a rough idea of how I can go about the wilderness and grab myself a good start. I make my way over to a section in order to mine iron. However, there's so many skeletons around I'm unable to actually mine anything. After I was unable to mine what I wanted, I decided to run off. I make my way to the graveyard of shadows. I managed to find myself some rats to kill, which makes the start to my melee journey a ton easier to get started. So I'm beating up some rats, getting myself some bones, burying the bones, getting my stats up, and life is going decent right now in the wilderness. After I felt like I was strong enough, I decided that I'd go for a quick item hunt in the graveyard. I bolt in, grab a crossbow, attract some zombies, grab myself a steel dagger, equip it, leave the iron dagger behind as it's lower than the one I've got. I grab the iron med helm and I make it out with a minor scratch. At this point, I decided that getting some prayer up would actually be beneficial in the long run. I started collecting some bones and I also picked up some steel plate legs. Not long after, I ended up finding a good little route to collecting these bones, so when I came back to collect the first bones again, they'll be there and ready for me to pick it up once more. I decided to do this for about 30 minutes. It took 30 minutes to get to level 43 in prayer, which now means I can protect myself from any kind of attack. I already have protection under my wing, so now it's time to get some levels. I head off back to the graveyard of shadows. I decide it's probably best to keep fighting rats for now, just so I can get some important levels and make my attack stronger. I get my strength to level 20 and decide to go see what it's like to fight a zombie. I had to do a lure tactic as I didn't want to be bombarded by a ton of zombies. I managed to get the zombie out, and even without putting a melee blocking prayer on, I'm tanking hits quite well. I managed to get my attack and defense up to levels 19 and 20. Once I beat the zombie, I had to check the drops. When I checked, it made me super happy. I could have the chance of getting some food, a half of a meat pie. I was also able to get a sling which can be used at any point, not even needing any kind of ammunition. There's plenty of drops, a lot that could help me out in the future, but nothing too much for a low-leveled character. Trying to keep the simple one zombie only rule, I managed to grab another one out. My melee stats are starting to rise fairly quickly now. Then I got a new iron hatchet. Well,
that's going to straight in my basket.
I added that directly into the tool belt and carried on with burying bones and killing more zombies. With the literal next drop, I was able to get myself a sling. This beginning portion is going great, getting things I need at a fairly decent and quick pace. When I tried to get the attention of one zombie again, I unfortunately got two, so I was taking twice as much damage. Without food, it's not great. At this point, I looked at my prayer as a safety net. If I needed to get out of a sticky situation, I had protection ready at hand. From the next two kills, I only got gems. They'll be good for leveling later. I got my sling out, and now it's time to get some range levels in. Only thing I didn't realize is my armor is taking my range stats down, and I can't safe range through this fence. I dragged the zombie next to a pond between the graveyard and the boneyard. I managed to get it stuck and safe zone the kill. It took forever and a day, mainly because I'm an idiot, but I got to level 25 ranged and got 2 limestone bricks. What was I going to do with the limestone brick? I have no idea. However, I spot some skeletons in the distance, tried to see what drops they have, and they have bronze bar drops. That's going to be huge to get my smithing going. This was literally my only thought at the time, so I didn't really read what else they drop. However, the first skeleton I managed to get on its own, I safe ranged and got myself a grimy guam. 3 levels in herb lore immediately. I can do herb lore out here to an extent too. The skeleton after gave me an iron arrow. Only one, which seriously sucks, but it's a start until I can smith my own and fight for feathers if anything drops them out in a worldie. Fast forwarding a little bit, I managed to get a grimy Taramin, an earth rune, loop half of a key, and an iron mace. I wanted to check my stats out when it came to the mace to see if it was better or not. This is when I realised that the helmets will give me a buff for ranged, but the steel plate legs is holding me back with my ranged, so I took them off. And now it's time to hit these skeletons again. Instant 60 on the first swing, we love to see it. That's when I got an adamant shield drop. That's huge right now. In the end, I managed to get quite a lot of herbs and a start to magic. I went back to the zombies, got a few more other drops and had a full inventory. I decided to teleport to the agility course and head on over to the mage bank. It was at this moment I realised I haven't searched enough through the ways of the worldie. There's literally a teleport straight to the mage bank in the PvP area's teleport menu. However, let's go through with this pain some more. I organised my bank and it's looking fairly nice. I head out and decide to go back to KBD so I can fight some Black Knights and some lesser demons. Then just after a few kills, I got a Dragon Spear! One of the best weapons I have as of right now. Once I got this, I killed a demon and headed out to see what red spiders have in store for me. I checked their drops, killed one, and nothing dropped. However, I thought there was a drop table, but upon editing this video, I found that these spiders don't exist apparently, or at least they don't exist in a drop table because they don't have drops. The drop table that we saw just a moment ago was actually from the lesser demons. And as you can see in the box in the bottom left, once you've examined a deadly red spider, it will not tell you that you can do ... drops. I kept running, and I ended up finding the Nox altar. This is something I don't think I'll ever touch on this worldie account. I then kept moving on, found the moss giants, killed one in a safe spot, and looked at his drops. I found the chaos talisman in the drops. This was fantastic to see, as there's a chaos altar out here in the wilderness, which is going to be the only way that I can do some rune crafting. That's if, and only if, I can manage to get some rune essence from drops. After getting some drops, I go and explore the Wildy volcano. I need to see what mobs there are to fight and what I can also get from them. Unfortunately, even though it should be very possible from where I was standing with the Anku, I can't safe zone a lot of the enemies here. There do seem to be quite the few good drops though. I move on to the altar and finally use it for the first time. This doesn't heal you like the altar back at home, but as a normal altar should, it restored my prayer. I then headed back off to the skeletons, which I thought would be best to get started with some of the skills that are possible out in the worldie. First drop I was looking for was a bronze bar to get started on smithing. Mission accomplished. Then I got a chaos talisman, something I was not expecting at all, but now I have the means of rune crafting when the time comes around, and I have a lamp to assist getting me to the required level. I ran off, killed a hill giant, then came across a bear near the chaos altar. It's actually good to note that there is a bear here because I can get the meat and cook it later, therefore having food. I wanted to ensure that this talisman was going to get me to the chaos altar, and I got in without a hitch. I'm in. I can do chaos runes, like I said, at level 35. I make my way exploring many different areas on the way back and decide to go back to the bank and drop everything off that I've collected recently. One stop I did before getting to the bank though was to stop by the anvil. I've now gone ahead and made a start to my smithing journey. I made a bronze dagger and got to level 8. I drop everything off at the bank and decide to go back to the beginning of the worldie. One thing I completely forgot about, probably like the majority of players in BlissScape, there's a mage of Zamorak just a little bit into the worldy, they have a shop and sell runes. Easy way for me to get the runes I require for any type of magic. I bought as many as I could and decided to go chop some oak logs, do a little bit of fletching and a little bit of fire making. I ended up going back to the mage bank, making some arrow shafts, and thought to myself, if I'm gonna have a mage that sells runes and costs a fair bit, I'll be able to utilize a feature that's available in the mage bank, the auction house. I was able to make 2,280 arrow shafts, which I decided to sell for 100k, making them 44 gold pieces each. They sold immediately. Thanks to Phil, I was able to get a little extra cash. This gives me an upper hand with magic thanks to the mage I can buy from. So now I have a means of making a little extra cash so I can purchase some runes. I then decided to go and fight some mages at the mage arena, and in all honesty, there was no reason. I just wanted to see if they died easily or dropped anything. They didn't. I swiftly moved on, went back down to the south to the wilderness line and started to woodcut some more. From this point on, all I do is woodcutting and fire making to try and get myself a lamp to know it's possible. I spent 1 hour and 24 minutes in this room trying to get a lamp, but the special event has evaded me thus far. Unfortunately, this is all I've done up to this point. If you want to see more of this wilderness only account and see what I get up to, please drop me a comment. Tell me you want to see more, like the video and sub for support. Thank you all for watching. Bye.